Sup with it, guys, you got excellent name here, back again for my APA Week 3 match up against miticus, the Commissioner. He's got a very weird team. This is because he actually randomized his draft in the end. Somehow still ended up with a pretty solid Sun Core, Mega Houndoom, Lando T, Necrozma, Buzzwole, Volcanion, Whimsicott, Ninetales, Hooper, Magneton, and Persian. Right off the bat, we notice that Megazam just completely destroys his team. He's got nothing that outspeeds it, nothing that can take any hits from this thing. I set up a Calm Mind and I can pretty much just win as long as the Houndoom doesn't have Sucker Punch, and as long as I can appropriately deal with his Scarfer. Necrozma is kind of the closest thing that he has to a real answer to this. And thankfully he doesn't have any Chlorophyll mons, which definitely hurts his Sun team quite a bit. Next up we have Torn. Sub Acro seems like a pretty solid bring here. The Salk Barrier is going to allow me to outspeed his entire team. And his only flying resist is the Magneton, so obviously I'm going to need to get rid of that first before I can try to set up with this thing. But with the special attack investment, I'm doing a lot of damage to the Lando T. I am able to kill the offensive variants pretty comfortably. And of course, Prankster Substitute means that I'm going to be able to set up these subs on pretty much anything. Just because I have that priority, I just need to worry about priority of his own. But other than that, then we've got Mesprit here. This is just because rocks are very solid in this game, and Ferrothorn is terrible in this game just because he's got a Sun team. So Mesprit was the logical choice here. Enough speed here to outspeed Modest, Volcanion, and stuff like that. With enough Spadef to just take on a lot of his team. And Rain Dance is just here in case, in case I really need a way to get rid of Rain. Cobble Barrier as well to take a Mega Houndoom hit. Then we've got Lapis, aka Finny. This is gonna just wall pretty much his entire team really comfortably. I do need to be wary of Solar Beam coming out from something like Volcanion, which is why I have the Zygarde in the back there as well. But yeah, just spamming Scald is going to be really solid. Hidden Power Ground is to hit the Magneton, and just extra coverage for Volcanion too. Nature's Madness is going to be the main thing that I'm spamming versus that thing though, but once it's in range then I will be able to Hidden Power Ground it. Enough speed to outspeed once again the Modest Volcanion. That's going to be the set I expect him to bring, as well as Modest Magneton as well. And just max Spadef because most of his team is especially offensive. Then we've got Scarf Down Manisan. This is another Pokemon that absolutely destroys him, given that his fire resist is non-Mega Houndoom. So I should be able to click Flare Blitz and get a kill every time I come in, especially if he wants to set up the Sun for me. That's just going to make my Flare Blitzes do even more. If Lando T and Buzzwole go away as well, then Earthquake is going to be really solid versus him too. Basically, this is just going to be able to get fantastic damage off onto his team and be a potential late game cleaner. And then finally, I didn't really know what else to bring, so I decided I'd bring Assault vs Zygarde. This is just going to give me an extra answer to Volcanion, like I was saying earlier. Finny is usually a really solid answer to it, but with Sun up, then I do have to worry about Solar Beam, but Zygarde means that I do not have to worry so much. It takes on a lot of his team pretty well. Hidden Power Ice for Lando, obviously special, just so that I don't have to worry about getting burnt as much. And just this coverage deals with most of his team quite effectively. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about the matchup overall, just because, randomized teams are bound to have lots of flaws. So I'll just jump right into the game. He brings bit of a Sun team right here, which is pretty much what we expected. So I'm just going to lead down Manitan because I outspeed his entire team with this. I can get the pivot off. I go into Finny here because I don't want to get paralyzed by a priority stun spore, and it covers any of the swap-ins he would likely make into Dum. I go into Dum here because I expect him to bust out something like a Solar Beam there, so it just makes sense as a good pivot. As he brings in the Landorus, which is not a swap into Sun Boosted Flare Blitz. I swap out here though, just wanting to scout him going into Houndoom. So I go into Mesprit to get up my rocks to make sure that I can deal with the Houndoom and the Ninetales as he goes into Necrozma to set up his own rocks. I just want to go for a taunt here because I expect him to start going for setup or something like that, or maybe recovery. But he actually goes for the Photon Geyser as I go into Zygarde. That Photon Geyser does a lot of damage, which makes me believe that he is physical. As he goes with Hidden Power Ice doing 52%. I'm happy to sack this here because he didn't end up bringing Volcanion, so it's not overly useful to me anyway, as he reveals to be Mago Berry, which does make it a little bit more difficult to kill off. It does mean that I need to set up a Calm Mind before I can kill this thing, which is what I go for right here. Tracing Prism Armor means that I live that Dark Pulse very comfortably. And I just go for a Shadow Ball there, because I don't want to put myself too low in a range where I could die to Houndoom Sucker Punch. But as the Whimsicott goes for a Leech Seed, he reveals that he probably does not have the Sucker Punch. I decide to go for a Shadow Ball here because I don't want to risk Focus Blast missing. But as it turns out, he's max HP Magneton, so he unfortunately lives. But at this point it doesn't matter because Scarf Darmanitan is going to be able to come in and clean sweep him with the Earthquake because Landorus dies to rocks. So yeah, solid game. You know, it just was hard for miticus to overcome all the flaws that his draft has in the matchup. Alakazam just came in and claimed kills. He probably could have gone into Magneton to do something earlier, but yeah, it was just rough for him, especially just like the matchup. But regardless, very solid game. Next week I play Scotty Dr. Pepper, so that should be a fun one as well. See you guys for that. Bye.